going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the trades we end up taking today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So for today, what did we look like off the open going into today? So we were neutral, or not neutral. We were obviously crossed bearish yesterday at the close. You can see here, this candle close right here was the last candle before the close. And going into today, the chart did look pretty, bullish. It was kind of like in between of what was going to happen. Obviously, just based on the look of it, it looked more bullish than bearish just because we lost the 50. The 10 SMA is down super hard. And pretty much right off the open, you could guarantee that this is going to cross negative and we're going to go higher because whenever we get a 30-minute crossing negative, the bears are losing the trend. Like 90% of the time, we are going to get a move in the opposite direction of the premium. Like very rare. It does happen. Obviously, nothing's like guaranteed in the market, but sometimes it will just come right back up, right off the open very aggressively and hold the trend. But after the first 30-minute candle ended up closing, you could pretty much see that we were going to go higher, and that was my bias going into today. Everything looked bullish. There really wasn't anything to be bearish about. So I was looking for longs, didn't really want to short at all. Didn't make sense for me to short. So yeah, and we're also coming off of all these higher time frames. If we look here, 1 hour was starting to cross negative, 2 hour didn't even cross, and the 4 hour ended up rejecting. So yeah, you guys know we already took a long on, what was it, yesterday. We caught a nice trade, and today was a very like slow, choppy day. We just grinded higher, and the trade for today, a little bit different. It was a little bit confusing with the fibs today, and I went with a different level than what Colton was going with. So when it came to the fibs, you guys know, so I'm going to try and pull up the screenshot, actually. I'm just going to drag the screenshot over because my fibs at the moment are different. So I'm going to show you guys the screenshot off of open of what we end up looking like, because with that first 30-minute candle closure, all right, at 10 o'clock, the 9:30 30-minute candle ended up closing. And you guys know, as soon as we cross negative, we look to see what two fibs we are in between when that happens. And it was a little weird with how it happened. So right here at 10 a.m., you can see here we end up crossing down. So right at 10 a.m., 30-minute candle, 10 went below the 50. So the thing is with this, I kind of understand where Colton went with this because, okay, we have 30 minutes to go. If this ended up propping up, that could potentially like push the 50 up. So waiting for the candle closure kind of makes sense. So originally I didn't go with that, so my fibs were a little bit different. And also, this is what we looked like. It's really hard to see, but we had 4 minutes to go, pretty much the same price where we were in the next 4 minutes. So we were between the 78.6 and the 61.8. It's hard to see. It's these two levels right here. You can pretty much see this red line. That's where price was at the moment. We were between these two fibs when we crossed negative. So that's what I just originally went with. And so that was the range we were playing. So after price action went on, we ended up breaking above the 68.57 level. So I changed my fibs. Looking back on it, I think this was like, it just made sense for this to switch them at this point. But later on in the day, when we line up the 30-minute charts, it kind of makes sense to not change it with where we're at on the option charts, which I'll go over. But that was kind of the reason why I ended up changing them, because we broke above 68.57, got a 30-minute candle closure above. We went at least 10 points above it, and yeah, I was looking for a long. So given that, my trade was a little bit different. A little bit different of a trade. So, the fib levels are just a little bit wonky today. It did end up playing out. So, I ended up longing. All right. So this is the only screenshot I have. So pretty much, this price action to the left here, was the first, we were starting to break above the level, and that's when we end up changing the fibs. And I end up entering, I believe, 11.15. So on this pullback right here, I believe is where I got in. 68.72 is where I bought on ES, and we pretty much ended up just grinding higher the rest of the day. I sold it pretty much all out at 68.90, just about. It was just way too choppy. So if we pull up ES real quick here, my fibs are different, just so you guys know. They're different. It's not that same screenshot, but you guys can see what's going on. So we were just grinding higher this entire day. Up in here, so it was just getting very slow. So I'm like, I'm just not gonna hold on to this anymore. We were at the 30-minute 50 on the call side, and it was very slow action, so I just ended up closing it all right around like 68.91, 68.90. So it was like a net almost a 20-point trade. I ended up selling half, I think, for around 15 points, and then I sold the rest up in this area. So it was like 20 points on ES. Nothing too crazy. It's a 1 to 2 risk reward on that. I mean, solid trade, nothing crazy like I said, but that was the trade I ended up taking. And also it did line up with this 0DT chart. So I went long at 11.15. My chart always does this. 11.15 was like right down in here, right at the 52. So we had the 50 SMA on the call side on the 0DT chart aligned with the fib level. So that's why at the time I went with this trade. And yeah, it was a solid trade, got 20 points. I mean, the action was terrible today. So, you know, coming out even with 20 points in ES is plenty. And that's what we did today. There was no, other setup really. And yes, I did end up, I'm changing my fib levels back to what they were because like I said, it just makes more sense with the 30-minute chart. So if we look here, I'll explain what I mean by that. If we look here on the 30-minute, we're right at the 50 SMA on the call side, and obviously the put side's neutral. We cross negative. So with that and being said, you can see here, I mean, we pretty much almost hit the top of the range, 6,900. We hit it after hours and got a solid rejection. I think it dropped like 20, 25 points already after hours. So, it just makes sense because if we go break above 6,900, what's going to happen? We're going to probably end up crossing on the 30-minute and we're going to be bullish. So that kind of just coincides with each other. We break above 6,900, we're in buy the dip mode, and also most likely we will be crossed on the 30-minute and be bullish. So, with us being in like buying the dip mode, if, we went with the other levels, it doesn't make the most sense in the world. So that's why I'm going back to these levels. Again, it is the last, we have this high up in here. That was the last bull trend high, and the 100% level is the last bear trend low. So if we go to hourly, you can see it all the way down in here. 67.91 was the last low. And to change these levels, again, if we do break out higher, if the 6,900 level breaks, all right, if that breaks, we change the fib. So what we do is flip the 100% and the 0%. Whenever we're in buy the dip mode, 100% at the top, 0% at the bottom. So if we break out above 6,900, what would the new levels be? They would be, this 100% goes up to 0% high. It looks different on the 30-minute. I don't know. I have no clue why it does that. But we flip the 100% up here, and then the 0% now goes to this recent low because that's the recent low we had during the recent bear trend. So that's how you get the levels. I'll go over every video just so you guys understand it, but that's how you do the levels. And yeah, that's what we did today going into tomorrow. I'm going to be waiting for this range break, 6,900, 68.57. That's the range we're in between. So trade opportunities, I mean, honestly, if you wanted to after hours, you could have shorted the 6,900 top of the range. We're at 30-minute 50. So, you could have taken that if you wanted. Again, you're going to want to watch for this range break. So break above 6,900, we change the fibs, then we're going to be looking for a dip to the nearest sub level from there to buy it. And obviously 0DT call cross, 0DT put cross for tomorrow is on the table. If we end up dropping, obviously put cross is on the table. You could end up taking that. If we break below 68.57, fibs stay how they are. You don't change them. So if we break below 68.57, I would look for a break below and retest of this level to short. Those are your trade opportunities for tomorrow. Very simple. You just have to wait for one of the sides to pretty much break, and or just take a 0DT cross, whichever side provides it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. Actually, one more thing. We took Microsoft. Let me pull this up. Completely forgot about this. So Microsoft, really good setup here. If we pull up, let's see. If we pull up Microsoft here, we just pretty much end up playing this cross. Very, very clean cross. Pull up the 30-minute chart. I end up entering right down. Let's see. I'm gonna show you guys the chart that I sent when I entered. So this is what we looked like when I entered. Pretty much the dead bottom. But we did not make a new low, I don't think, on that wick. We didn't make a new low from there. So that was the entry, and look at the move. Very explosive move I took. So I went with the March 20th contracts, and I also grabbed Friday contracts. So obviously I went half the size I did on the Friday contracts than I did with the March 20th, just because it's closer expiration. I'm expecting a larger move, so I don't need as much size. Those went like 180%, right around 200%, so that was a massive move. And then the 320s went, I think, like 55, 60%. So yeah, I ended up selling half for around 45% on Microsoft. And then I sold the rest. I got trailed out of it for, I think, like around 35%. And then my what was it, the 415s I had for Friday went 180%. I sold most for like right at 100%, and I sold runners as we ended up creeping higher. So like, I think I sold another one at like 150%, and then as we pulled back, I think I sold the other runner for like 80%. So that was the Microsoft trade. Very simple. I mean, 30-minute cross. We had the 1 hour crossing as well. 2 hour was starting to break above and cross. I would expect this possibly to go higher, but again, this 4 hour 50 is sloped down quite a bit. I'm not sure if we're gonna go reach it, so I ended up just closing it all out in the afternoon today. So yeah, that's all we did today. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub, join the court if you want to learn. I'm out. Peace.